This video is discussing the solve section of your report. The first sentence you should be starting with in this section is knowing that you are collecting numerical data as opposed to categorical data, because numerical data lets you find the mean and the median and the mode. Numerical data is numbers, so you can do all three. However, the categorical type data is only words. So you can't find the mean or the median with words, like blue or Hawaiian pizza. If you collect data on that categorical scale, you can't arrange the results that you get from smallest to biggest, which is what you need to do for median. And you can't total it all together. You can find the mode only, the most voted for response. This is where you just tell me what your data question was. So the data collection question was, what shoe size are you? The data collection question was, how many pets do you have? The data collection question was, pick a card out of the pack, please. You just need to remember that I have 3 classes worth of work, so it's good to put in context what you collected when I'm looking at your data collection. Where it says to collect data and evidence it with frequency tables or tallies, that's just making sure you attach the data that you collected in class. It's just to show me that you didn't get to the night before and realize you had no data and just made up random data yourself. If you do have to make up data at home, maybe you could get a dice and roll it 20 times. Or maybe you could get a pack of cards and flip them all over and pick up 20 cards and record what you collect. It's just not sitting there and making up numbers. So still collect data, squiggle it down as you go and staple it to the back of your work. Okay, so this is where you put into place the mean, median and mode calculations. So calculate the measures of central tendency. That's mean, median and mode. So show you're working somewhere. You can type it into a Word document if you like, or if you prefer just to do your working on a piece of paper with a pen or a pencil. Just make sure you staple it to the back of your report. Okay, these two are probably the most important. These two are probably the main reason or the goal of the solve section. So it says to identify similarities and differences between your measures of central tendency. So that means compare your mean, median and mode. So you take your data, okay, you would take your data and make some sentences, or make a sentence to say things like, the mean and the median are very similar. You know, the mean and the median are only 2.5 in difference, whereas the mode is very different. Okay, it's 3.5 away from the median and it's 7 away from the mean. So my data example is, I guess, not that it's good, it is good, because I have a set of data that tells me and shows me that the mode is a bit unreliable. It's a bit dodgy, it's a bit sketchy, it's not similar to the other two. So if you have data where the mode is similar to the other two, okay, I suggest you ask people in the class what their data results were, and hopefully you find somebody that the mode is different like this one. Okay, if not, there's other things you can discuss. All right, so you can say, so let's say that your answer here was 12 or something between 9 and 12, and you're looking at this saying, well, they're all similar. You could then talk about the fact that sometimes with numerical data there is no mode. There might not be something that occurred more than once. Okay, you might have rolled dice and you got the same sort of, nothing was rolled twice. Sometimes with mode, you know that there's 2 modes or 3 modes. So this is what I started to say before. So you might have rolled the dice and you might have rolled the number 2 twice and the number 4 twice. So you've got 2 modes. So therefore you could start to talk about the fact that, you know, if you had no mode, then it's dodgy. You can't use it. If you have more than one mode, then it's then difficult to make a decision based on just the mode. So in class, we've been talking about the fact that if you were making a really big decision for the government or $1 million decision for your business, and you had to rely on the mode only, you might be a bit worried because you don't know if that is as good as those 2 or close to them. Especially if your mode was not there, if you had no mode, then you can't make a decision. Or if you had more than one mode, which one do you choose? So the focus of this question about reliability is that the mode isn't very reliable for numerical data. Okay, so if your mode actually turned out to be okay, you still need to have a discussion about the fact that it's not always okay. It's sometimes very different. All right, this one here, the technology question. It looks like a big question, but it's not really. In your formulate stage, you would have suggested some technologies to use. So you could suggest to use calculators, you could suggest to use Microsoft Excel. This one here is just saying, what technology did you use? Okay, so you made some suggestions in your formulate stage, and then it's just confirming which technologies you ended up using, because I know that around the classroom, people who, for example, I think there was one girl who collected data of height but did it in centimetres, so her numbers were really big and she had 20 of them, and she was finding it difficult to type them into the calculator. She kept getting different answers, so we worked together and she found just her mean using Excel by adding all the numbers together and dividing them, and then she knew her answer was accurate. So she here would say that she used Excel, even if it was just a little bit.